So today I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna do a strategy guide. I got 5 beginner tips that will help you get started. I'm not the best player out there. In this game everything is situational and the game has by no means been figured out. But I've been on the top of the leaderboard during the beta, so take it as you will. This game is all about getting a better deck while keeping your opponent in check. So let's talk about how to do that. So a good deck needs good cards. And for example, over here we have Research Expedition, we have Carbon Tax for a Windmill deck, we can go University. But for all of these things we need energy, so let's start with that. Now we have 5 right now, which means, for example, we can buy an oil that will hopefully get us a nice amount of energy soon. Maybe we can hit 5, we can go Nation, then hit 5 again and buy one of these cards, for example. An alternative is that we say we do like a lorry that also gives energy, and we do a bank. That's a different way to ramp up. Now if you have 4, you might do double gas, for example, or a gas and a bank. Sometimes you can go like a lorry or a watermill to get some energy, but yeah, typically you want to make sure you hit 5 as soon as possible, ideally turn 2, turn 3, etc. So yeah, let's for now say we buy the lorry and the bank and see what happens. Alright, so we hit 4 again, we buy another lorry, and already you see that now at turn 3 we really have 7 energy to spend. And now we have a lot of choice in what we can do. We can go tier 2, we can counterfeit maybe something and buy like an oil platform or one of these other cards. There's lots of options, so by getting lots of energy in our deck early on, we ramp up and we can build whatever we want. Tip number 2 is don't buy infantry. In general, units are a big trap in this game, I think. Sure, you need to get across the map. You need to capture those lands to win the game. But these units really pollute your deck. They don't do anything really unless you need to defend or are close to winning or maybe are fighting over one of these drops. But in general, they really make your deck a whole lot worse, and you want to delay buying them for as long as you can. So let's see what happens if we ignore this advice and we just buy 2 infantry on the first turn. Now look what we have. We have a hand of 3 infantry and 2 energy. We can barely buy anything. We cannot buy an oil, we cannot buy nation, none of these cards we can buy, and even worse, it's going to take several turns before we even get to like 4 energy or maybe 5, because every time now we're going to draw a hand with maybe 2 to 3 calls and 2 to 3 infantry, which is just absolutely terrible. And all the opponent has to do is buy some stuff that gives energy and maybe get like a tank or a fighter, and he will always beat you because having 2 power in 1 card is just so much more efficient than having 2 power in 2 cards, let alone having 3 power in 1 card. So yeah, typically try to avoid units in the beginning of the game, but particularly don't buy infantry. It's a giant trap. Tip number 3 is buy action cards. Action cards are the ones with the blue edge that say action on the top right in the tooltips. These are always on the right side of the shop. The tier shop is where it's at. There's lots of actions there. There's where all your combos are. most of the time. Of course, there are combos with the basic shop, but typically you make the combos in the tier shop. So this side of the shop is the most powerful and the most fun, I would say. And if you would just, like in a no-brainer type of rule, just buy any action anytime, you'll already see that you're going to get a good deck. So let's just see what happens when we do that. So first, we apply our first rule, that is get energy, so we buy Lorry. So let's go. And then we're just gonna buy whatever action we can. Lorry. Let's go for a medic, sure. And we have some stuff left for a bank. Alright. More actions. Look, we are drawing 2 actions. Alright, then let's buy some more actions. And let's just keep going.
So starts a new chapter.
Alright, so we level up. So we can buy the better actions.
Work here is done.
And already you're starting to see we're doing lots of stuff in one turn.
Engaging target. All right then.
A little further. Research expedition. You see our deck is getting more and more action cards, and our hand is getting more and more action cards. So each turn we do a lot more stuff than we could do if we would have just bought units and all that stuff. Some more.
Making progress.
Look, and by just adding tons of actions in our deck, we get a hand like this, where we go tech race, we play a Lorry, then we draw 2, we draw 2 more, we draw 1 more, we draw more. We do a double strike thing. We play another action. And now we have 11 energy. And we can do whatever we want. We get a fighter for 10. Buy more research, whatever. This is getting us really powerful turns. Which ultimately wins us the game. Just by adding tons of actions in our deck. Tip number 4 is buy a lot of cards that draw more cards. Like in any other card game, having more cards than your opponent is just going to be insanely good. Moreover, there are lots of combos with card draw, like a windmill, for example. Another one is watermill, where if you get 6 or more cards in your hand, you draw more cards. So I've been building up to this little deck with a lot of draw in it, so let's just see what happens when I play all this stuff. Look, it just keeps going. I'm getting like a huge turn here. With lots of stuff, I'm drawing basically my entire deck. I mean, if I would have drawn the research, I would have drawn my entire deck. I have 3 support, I have 15 energy. I can do a ton of stuff. And if I add more research, it's gonna just keep getting more and more insane. Unless research get disrupted, of course. But now we're facing the bronze AI. This is just an example. But here we go again. Another turn with just a ton of draw. And look at us go. We're playing all these actions in a row. Tons of stuff going on. We're drawing our entire deck. Maybe even too much in this case. We have a bit of overdraw. That's an inefficiency, of course, but still another gigantic turn where we basically draw our entire deck and just pop off and do whatever, like a giant attack, like this, or whatever you please. But draw is super good, so get a lot of cards that draw other cards. So the final tip for today is to use Disrupt. This might be the best card in the game. It disables 1 enemy card for a turn. This means if they have it in hand, it gets discarded, they can't use it. but it also means they cannot buy that card for that turn. And as an additional effect, buildings don't build for that turn. So you're looking at a game that I recently played where I found my opponent building lots of nukes. So I just started consistently disrupting them. And here you see me hitting 2 from his hand. Those would have otherwise killed all my buildings. I would have been totally screwed. But yeah, in general, you really can annoy your enemy and prevent a strategy from evolving, or actually a combo turn from popping off, or preventing like a critical fighter from being bought. It really is a general purpose mechanic that you should try to use whenever you can. So early game, you might not always have the energy to use it, but if you can, try to squeeze it in. But particularly when the game evolves, you really want to start looking closely at the opponent's deck, see what are their like most powerful cards. Could be a powerful single card, like if they have a lot of fighters. Like beginners typically rely on a 1 card or a 2 card strategy. So these are easily disrupted, and you can win by just disabling those key cards. So yeah, I really suggest you start using Disrupt, see how powerful it is, and it will definitely win you games, I promise. Like you see me win this game right here, which wouldn't have happened if I hadn't used Disrupt consistently and accurately. Yeah, so I hope these tips help, and yeah, win you games like I just did right here. On the next one, we'll do some intermediate tips. See you then.